Well, phew, try not to panic there. I couldn't get connected to YouTube, but no panic. Here I am. My name is Sue, and I am from OML Embroidery. Welcome to Sunset with Sue, digitizing after dark. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was having trouble connecting to YouTube, so I was like, I'm always on time, so I had to work on that. So, welcome to our very first Q&A. And I'm going to start off this Q&A with the most asked question ever. Pull compensation. What is it, and why do we need to know about it? Thank you, everyone, for responding. Yay. Hi, Jackie. Joy Anthony, Isabel, of course, Cindy King, yay! Fiona, hello. I have to scroll back, but there was someone else from Canada, BC, yay. From hot and sunny Arizona. Well, thank you, Jackie. We have a beautiful day here in Canada. It's the perfect day for digitizing outside, I would say. I'm going to grab my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro and get out there. So, okay, hopefully you guys collected your questions. And we'll hopefully get through as many as possible and try to help you guys out with questions. It's going to be really hard for me to switch software, but if this goes well and people are really interested, I have a solution for that, and we'll see if that'll work. Oh, hi, Karina. I see Karina. Hi, Cheryl. Hi from Detroit. Finally not raining. Hi, Cheryl. I could wave across the river and see you. We're just on the other side. Ha, cool. So we'll try to keep the questions, we'll try to keep it flowing and going. So hopefully in the group of, how many people do we have? 40 people almost, that you guys, want to know about pull compensation. I get emails and comments and all stuff like that, that people don't understand it. So I've been thinking about this, and I kind of pulled a fast one on you guys because the last design that you stitched had a pull comp issue. And I'm going to show you guys just so you understand, because you've stitched it out, right? Isabel, pull comp is like Chinese to me. Please, baby beginner love. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if it's so important that you guys understand pull comp. If you're not understanding what I'm saying, please ask. Hopefully I catch it. The best way to do that is with a sticker or something like that. They show up, and I catch the colors out of the corner of my eye. So pull compensation is really important. When I hear people say, well, it looked fine on the screen. I'm going to show you this. We're starting just right at the beginning. It looks fine on the screen, but it didn't stitch out right. Okay, there's a few reasons for that. The first reason is it's a computer and it doesn't analyze physics. So the physics would be the pull of the thread on the fabric. So it can't account for that. So when you're looking at something like this right on the screen, it doesn't account for pull compensation, or not using the right stabilizer, or not hooping properly, that sort of thing. Those things can get involved and change how it looks. But let's go to one you guys know. Now this is the PES file of the design that we stitched on the weekend. We stitched it on Saturday. Now look, all my circles are perfect, aren't they? beautiful circles. This one is an applique circle. These were our satin stitches. So, and they split. The satin split. So if you guys think back to when you were stitching it out, see, aren't I clever? You guys all stitched it. So you guys are gonna learn it. What happened to these ones on the side? This one's still perfect, but what happened to these ones on the side? Look, can you see what shape they are? They're not a circle. Look, circle, perfect circle, no physics, and here you go with the physics. So you can see that the shape has changed, right? The shape has changed. So this is more of an oval than a circle, even though it looks great on the computer. So what is happening here? Well, that would be pull compensation, and I'm going to show you clearly what it is. Jackie, thank you very much. See, I see that. It's bright yellow, and the turquoise person is jumping up and cheering. So yay! So it's pulling. So that's what it means. So forget about the compensation. What it means is that when the threads go in, when you're stitching, not on the computer, this is actual physical. When it is stitching, your machine goes from here to here to here. And when it does, the thread is, tight. You got to have tension on it. And it's pulling. It's pulling. So it's pulling kind of towards the middle. And that's why, oh, I can't change it. Sorry, I did it in E4. I was going to play around with it, but we'll do that on the next page. So it's pulling the fabric in with the thread, and you end up with, an oval. An oval. So you can see exactly what I just showed you. See, it's pulling in. Now, we're not talking about pulling in, a huge amount. That's one of the reasons why you can't do really, really long stitches, because it pulls it in too much and you'll have a mess. So does everyone get that so far? Do you guys get it? Let me know. I'll take a drink while I'm waiting. That is the essence of pull compensation. So the compensation part means that this is going to happen and you are going to plan for it. Nodding. Thank you. Yes, yes. Okay, good. So the pull part and compensating for the pull part. Well, how do you do that? Well, it's easy. You can add the pull comp. Okay, you can add it. You could try on this, but I think you would have to change the shape of it. So you account for the pull comp and you change the shape. So it went from a circle. Let me draw a circle. Oh yeah, I forgot what I was doing there for a sec. Let's draw a perfect circle. I'm going to hold down my control key to constrain it. No, shift key. Does that work? No, control key. Come on. All right, I want a perfect circle. I got it. Never mind. So it goes from this on the computer screen. Thank you. There we go. To this. So how would you compensate for it? Well, you need to change the shape just a little bit to make it turn out into a circle. And I'm going to give you guys, after class, I didn't have time to make it up, but I'm going to give you guys something to stitch out that's going to show you what happens if you do this, what happens if you do that, and I'm going to label everything. So that is the essence of it, but pull compensation and push compensation as well. So pull means it pulls towards the middle. Push means it pushes the fabric outside. So let's go and play now. So hats is a good example of push compensation. And what you have to do with hats when you're digitizing them, or if you pay someone to digitize or anything like that, hats have to start from the center out. Now, why is that? Because hats aren't hooped. Oh, thank you, Alicia. Hats aren't hooped the same way as we do our fabric and our backing and put it in, and everything is nice and set up. And when you stitch it, if you stitch from one side to the other, it's not going to be in the center anymore because of the way it's hooped and the fabric that, oh, Ronog, thank you very much. Always happy to see you. Ronog's always here, which is awesome. I love seeing the regulars. It's awesome. Okay, back to hats. It pushes it. There's movement when you're stitching it, and it pushes it. So if you start from the inside out, you make it so it pushes it evenly, and your design will be centered. Does that make sense to everyone? Hopefully it does. So I personally hate hats because, I don't know, I just hate hats. They're hard to do. We have hat hoops and we used to do tons of them, but I'm like, no. Don likes them. He uses them. He stitches them all the time, but I'm like, pass. I don't know why. I think in some software, I think Hatch, and probably in here, that there's a setup for it so you can stitch it out properly. So remember, hats always go that way. They're supposed to. If you get a design from someone and it's not, center out. So even if you have lettering, so you would start for this one, you would start with the A and go to the T and go to the H and go to the S. And that would turn out properly. If you do anything else, then it's gonna not be where you want it. Cindy King says, I have hats going on my big machines right now. Yay! That's awesome. So that's hats. That's specific for hats. So in general terms, you can't take... oh, thank you, Isabel. I appreciate all the support. You can't take a regular design and put it on a hat because it has to be digitized specifically for a hat to do the center out, right? Yep, center out. So if you're doing lettering, have a look, and it probably has, what order it's going to stitch, and that's why they have it, is just specifically for hats. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Visors too, yes. Anything that you're putting on a cylindrical hoop, so not a flat hoop, a circle one, anything like that, you have to compensate for it. So don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If a digitizer sends you something and it's not for a hat and it's not inside out, stitching from the inside to the outside, then they need to fix it because it's just not going to work for you. So in a design, so lettering, that's how you do it. In a design, it still has to go kind of from side to side. So you really have to know what you're doing to get a proper hat design. I got a free vector program to see if I can learn that before I invest in embroidery software. I know there'll be a learning curve from software differences, but design-wise, it'll be the same, right? No, sorry, Kathleen. I have a lot of graphics people decide that they want to go into embroidery, but they're thinking graphics and embroidery is completely different. So this would be one place to start, but you have to have stitches. You have to have stitches. So, okay, hats, we've gone over that. Let's look at the satin stitch. Now, we're not going to worry about the underlay, but this is just a great way to see what's going to happen. So the satin stitch is, you know, you can set the width to it and you can figure it out. When it stitches out, it is not going to be the exact width that you have here. So let's watch how it stitches or go through. It goes from here to here to here. So where is the pull comp? Where is it? It's pulling into the center for this one. Just try to picture it in your head that it's going to be, you know, pulling the fabric. And this side too, so you have it from both sides. Pull and pull and pull. So if you want the satin stitch to be a certain amount when it's done, like a certain width, or it has to be for that, you have to add some pull compensation. So let's go here on Perfect Embroidery Pro. Those are good for that. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Where's the pull comp? I probably missed it. I'm having a rough day today. Not really, but it's just so busy. It's just so busy. Corner type, angle, steel density. Well, that's another thing we can have a chat about too, is density. People ask that a lot about density. What density should it be? And there we go. I did miss it. I just zoomed right by. And that symbol actually makes sense. So there's no pull compensation on that. And if you're just doing a design, then it doesn't matter. But look at the stitches. I'll bring them a little more to center. Look at the stitches right now. And I'm going to add some pull comp. So percentage and absolute is just what you're more comfortable with. So percentage, so you want, you know, I don't know what the numbers would be. Both first, second, yeah, we want it on both. I usually use absolute, so I know what it is. And it's, I don't usually do it in metric. That's why I don't know, I'm kind of old school on that. My brain hasn't transferred over to the metric system, even though we've had it here in Canada forever. Ever. And my brain just can't process it. So let's just, it's millimeters, so it's really small. So let's add like 17 millimeters. Now watch the stitches and watch what happens. Really wide. So that's pull compensation. Obviously, you don't need that much. But isn't it cool what had happened? So that happens on everything that you add pull comp to. So if you're just doing just, you know, a fill stitch and nothing else, you don't need to add pull comp to it because it's fine. You don't have to. It's always a good idea to add a little bit of pull comp on satin stitches like this. So now you can really see, can you imagine what would this turn out to be if you stitched it? These are huge satin stitches. They let me put on mine. They split seriously. So the splitting, people ask me about that. Should I put splitting on? The answer is yes. If you have it on your software, always do split satin. Now you know why. Why? Because if you don't, first of all, the machines really dislike long satin stitches. And second of all, pull comp, because that is going to pull your fabric left, right, and going into the center. And it's just simply not going to look the same. So let's go. A lot of people do this. They stitch. If this was prettier, it's not very pretty right now. They would stitch this out, and I know it has a little gap there, so I'll just move it up a little bit. They would stitch this out, and because of physics and because of pull comp, that it would have a gap in between. Now that could be also from stabilizer. It could also be not hooping properly or anything like that. Now, if we look, let me take this off. If we look, what is the direction of the stitches? They're still going this way. They're still going, so it is going to pull not on the sides as much. It's going to pull this way. So let me turn this guy around so it fits together. So what do you do for this one? What do you do? Well, when I'm digitizing, just normal digitizing, I plan for the pull compensation just automatically. So if you were digitizing this and you just did it like that, hey, it looks fine on the computer, right? Doesn't that look fine? They are nicely matched up. They look great. What's going to happen? Well, this one, the purple one, is going to pull that way, and this one is you're gonna end up with a gap. So you can either add pull compensation, or you can digitize it like this with a small overlap. Okay, and this solves all your problems. Anything that is attached like this or beside and it's going the right way, then it is overlapped. I overlap everything. I just do it automatically, and I don't have to worry about, oh, is there pull comp on it? On E4, the pull comp, I have it set to automatically add a little bit so I can see, and I also overlap. But you don't have to do that, and you don't have to worry about it. If you overlap everything, as long as you use the correct stabilizer, I've done lots of blogs, and you know, you got to use the right stabilizer. It's just better embroidery. Is that why some patterns have outlines? Probably. It's also why you see a pattern or a design with a running stitch outline, and it never, ever, ever, ever matches up. Now, you guys have all done this. I'll guarantee you guys have all done this, that you've stitched out a design like that, whether you made it or not, that the black outline or whatever color outline doesn't match up, and it kind of ruins your whole design. So picture a bear with like a black outline around it. Or I've seen a lot of Disney designs like that, or whatever. But just picture that. That is from stabilizer and pull compensation. So I avoid that at all costs, pretty much. I do not outline anything with just a running stitch, because it's so hard to make it good. And if like you're doing designs and someone else is stitching it out, if you do it like that, if they don't have the right stabilizer and they don't have good hooping skills, it's not going to look how you intended. So that's why I'm always telling people digitizing and embroidery skills. Those are both skills that you have to learn, and they go hand in hand. So now you know when you're putting two tatami blocks together that you need to overlap them, and now you know why you need to overlap them. Oh, Jackie Burke, thank you very much. Are we all good so far? Everything makes sense so far? Yes. Would a basting box help solve the pull? No. No, I don't know when this basting box trend started. I guess it's from sewing, because a basting box, if you look at it, the stitches are really long. And it's just meant in sewing, and Karina, you can correct me if I'm wrong, to, lightly hold it together. So do not rely on basting stitches. It's just like a tack down stitch, even if you think of it in the ways of embroidery. A tack down stitch is not a satin stitch. The tack down stitch is simply going to lightly tack it down. You would not leave your applique with just a tack down stitch. So same thing goes for a basting box. It would help eliminate some of the movement maybe, but I don't use them. You can of course make your own decisions on that. I would say though that they cannot be relied on. It may assist in a small way, but yeah, Jackie San Pedro, thank you. Basting is a stitch, longest stitch a machine has, and it's tack down only. My understanding is that it is to be used like we use tape. Oh, I've been screamed at that a design is fine, I just didn't baste it down. Well, well, I don't know what to say. I have them. I have them built in on all the software. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I think people think it does, if that makes sense. I don't want to put anyone down, and I don't want nasty emails because I said I don't like basting stitches. They don't do enough. Please, please don't. That is my opinion. I have been doing embroidery commercially for 16, 17 years, and I've never once used a basting stitch. People use it. I mean, you can't use it on vinyl. If you do that, you're going to have holes left over because they don't. That would be the thing that I'd worry about. And because it's long stitches, so picture a long stitch, okay? Watch my mouse. And then a short stitch. Which do you think is stronger? It's going to be the short one because it's making more contact between them. So yeah, bad designs are bad designs. That's yes, Jackie Burke, isn't it only to hold a piece of fabric or topper in place? Yes, that would be a suitable thing because it's just holding the topper so the ends don't come up. I rarely use toppers too, by the way. But it's not for anything else, in my opinion. Now, you guys can have your own opinions, and if it works for you, that's fantastic. The goal of all that I'm doing is to have you guys create and stitch beautiful embroidery. So if it's makes you happy to use it, that's fine. But a topper, the only time you need to use a topper, save your money, is say you're doing a towel and putting that horrible plasticky stuff on it. Chris Yost, thank you very much. I like the smiling cat. Is it a cat or a fox? It may be a fox. To help hold the stitches up when you have a nap. So towels, they're raised and it just helps hold it up. It is not a stabilizer in this case. It's not a stabilizer when you're doing towels. It is not sufficient to do it on the back. Why? Because you need to provide support for your stitches. So we need foundations for it. And if you do things properly, you shouldn't get any gaps. If it's digitized properly, you won't get any gaps. Misha, I have not used the base box except with slippery fabric. There you go. That's another good reason. That's another good reason, or another good reason to use the basting box. Slippery fabric. It's not going to hold your fabric in place, but it probably will help. I've bought patterns that stitched awfully and was blamed for the pull. No, I use it if I have a fabric I can't hoop. Well, yeah, if you use it in combinations with stuff. Like I said again, whatever works for you guys. Always make sure when you're digitizing like that, you just kind of think about it. I automatically do the over. You can kind of see a bump there. Everything has to be overlapped. So now you know why underlined or outlined designs rarely work. What you'd have to do is account for the pull compensation and bring that black line in a little bit. It would really depend on what you're stitching, but what people do is they just click and they do an automatic outline and they don't account for any movement. So you would have to do it, maybe something like this. It would depend on what you are stitching and what you're stitching on, of course, and what the design is. But you cannot put an outline right at the end. It's never going to work. And we're going to work with this. So if this is my outline, let's take this off. You still can't see it very well. You have to bring it in just a little bit. I know this looks like, wow, Sue, what are you doing? It's halfway down. But remember the scale that you're looking at. It's not a huge point. This isn't huge. You won't see it, but you will notice that they match up when you stitch it out. This is why I've stopped buying patterns from random people and only buy from OML, Creative Kiwi, and need a good design. Yep, I'm gonna agree. You could throw Embroidery Library in there. They've been doing this for a long time as well. So, Jackie, if you're doing a design, how do you account for all the different types of fabric it might be stitched on? I just usually pick cotton, and they're for pull compensation, other than hats, it's pretty much the same. So the answer is I don't account for it. I just, all of them have the fabric selector, even E4 has it. And I just pick cotton with a cutaway because most of the time that's what I'm doing. Just the same thing as that. So, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let's see here. I wanted to show you guys. This is block stitches here. Let's go. Block stitches. I haven't found a centering where you could zoom in and have it fill the screen. I haven't looked very hard for it. But this is a block satin. So you can't make satin stitches too small because they are going to be stitching over itself, and you can't do that. That's getting pretty small there, and it's going to just kind of almost stitch in place. Ooh, thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. If underlay helps pull compensation a little bit, you should always have underlay, so it's probably accounted for anyways. So what does underlay do? It helps with the foundation of your embroidery. So it's not a basting stitch, but it's going to help hold everything together for your cover stitches and provide a beautiful foundation for it. So it's not going to eliminate the pull compensation, but it is going to help. So I recommend for most things that you do underlay. Now, the only time I would not do underlay is if I'm doing this will look weird, but oh no, I got a better idea. Hold on, to show you. If I was doing the word hats over and it went under, I didn't mean for it to go under. There it is. I need to move the word hats. I made a whole bunch of arrows too and the symbols to illustrate everything a little bit better. Just let me find the word hats. Yes. Now all I'm going to do is right click and it's under order, and we're going to bring it all the way to the wrong way because, that's how I rock. Why not, right? Oh no, I did it right. All right, I need more caffeine. So I would do minimal underlay on this. I don't think you have to. Lily Guzman, thank you very much. #1 fan. Woot woot. That's awesome. You have to be a little careful on this. So basically, lettering is a little bit different because you have a lot of pull comp going on here, right? But in other circumstances, the tatami or fill stitch underneath can be counted as underlay. I wouldn't recommend it for lettering. So I'll go back to what I was initially going to do. If you're putting tatami over tatami, now cutting it out, people say, well, if I cut it out, I don't have to worry about it. You still kind of do. Cutting out is not always appropriate. So what I say to people is that if you want to understand cutting out objects, you don't have to. You don't have to, because this is the purple is the underlay for this. So I could take off the underlay for the red and we still have a foundation, we still have everything. So you can do that. Now, what I was saying before, sorry, I jumped around there. If you have, small-ish, cut a hole and look at the stitch count. And sometimes you'll find that it adds quite a bit to the stitch count. It doesn't take away as much as you think. It's true. You guys try it. It's true. It is true. So lettering is completely different, just like digitizing for hats is completely different than regular digitizing. Usually a little bit of pull comp is added in automatically, but you do have to watch, because if you don't lay a nice foundation. Now, there isn't a whole lot of foundation here, underlay here, because it's really small. So you just don't want, uh, because look how it's pulling in. So on all of these stitches here, it's pulling from the bottom to the middle. And what's going to happen if, say, the S compared to the T, look how many more stitches we have it basically pulling up compared to the T. The S is going to pull more, and your letters aren't going to look straight. How many people have encountered that you stitch something out and your letters aren't straight? That's part of it. That is part of it. Oh, I saw Don come in. He was out shipping. So cool. OML University Facebook group is an awesome place to be. That is the backup group for this channel. The channel is it me or is Sue having audio problems? Am I having audio problems? Doesn't look like it from my controls. Let me know if anyone else. It could be YouTube and it could be your internet phasing in and out. So just hold on a little bit. So yeah, you have to be careful with the lettering. You also, one thing I notice a lot of people do is, okay, so I've zoomed in on this lettering and it looks big. I can tell that it isn't because of the underlay. And let's look. Yeah, it's only an inch, a half an inch high, and almost an inch and a half. So that's pretty tiny. You should always know what's recommended size for that. Now look, when I make it a little bit bigger, you can see it's added a center. And then let's make it even bigger. It's probably too big. But look at the stitches now. Pretty big, and it goes around twice. So underlay is just as important as pull comp. So if you're hooping right, if you're digitizing correctly, everything should overlap. a little bit. It doesn't have to be huge. I know, for example, in Hatch, when you're cutting holes, it asks you what you want the overlap to be. So, yeah, yeah, that's why, because you want it overlapped. So if there's any pull compensation issues, that it still looks fantastic. So use cutting holes. It does have a place, but just make sure that they are correct. Like in the correct, if you're cutting holes to save stitches, then make sure it actually is saving stitches. So, does anyone have any questions? I was cutting out, but you're fine. It's probably YouTube. I had a hard time connecting today, so apologies. I don't know if it is or not. We have five internet, so it is like fantastic. Yeah, stay here. Stay here. You keep getting kicked out? Yeah, you know what? Misha, sorry. It is YouTube. They're making changes and crap, and it's annoying to me. It makes me do a lot more work and panic sometimes. So everyone, when you're digitizing with different stitches, you are going to overlap them. When you put an outline, it is just not good enough to click outline. You have to account for it. Are there any good embroidery programs that cost in the hundreds rather than the thousands? Well, I guess Embird falls into that. Embrilliance, I do use Embrilliance because I have Macs everywhere. So I use Embrilliance on my Macs. It works very well, and you can build up. Hatch is another one that I really enjoy. Hatch is really close. I have the commercial one. It's Wilcom E4, but that is like 10,000 for that program for all of it. So, yes, Jackie San Pedro. I like Hatch. You can buy it over a year. Hatch is very powerful. So are all of them. Don and I used Embird for our business for a long time. We had to make a lot of money and save a lot of money. Oops, sorry. That snuck up on me. To be able to buy E4, but honestly, we used Embird. If I had to make the choice again, I would use Embrilliance or Hatch. It's reasonable. The Hatch, if you're American, it's like $99 a month. 100% worth it. And with Embrilliance, yay, it works natively on a Mac. You can use it on Windows too. So there's benefits. You know, you guys know I have a lot of software, and there's a reason for that. I use Embrilliance on my Macs. I use E4 for production, and sometimes for the mug rugs that I do, I like this Perfect Embroidery Pro. Now, the thing with this Perfect Embroidery Pro, I should have included that because this is absolutely one that I would have chosen. They have a price on the website. Don't freak out. That's not the price you'll pay. You have to get it from a dealer or one of those shows, and they give you a ton of stuff. A ton. Now, what I like about this is the lace and all the add-on programs and free upgrades for life. You don't, if you buy the program, the digitizing part, not these extra ones cost extra. They're like add-ons sort of thing. You don't have to pay again forever. It'll just keep updating you. So it's awesome. So those are my favorite ones. One thing I like about this are all of these that you can play with, and they're smaller designs, they're symbols. That's where I got the arrows from, and they're fun to play with. So, and I love all the other programs too. So for me, this is my fun. This is my fun software, and I do use it. I use PEDesign when I'm dealing with, like, say, a big design from Anita Good Design that has a lot of changes. I bring the stitch file into PEDesign and set up all the colors at my desk instead of at the machine, because they read each other really well. I do use it for a couple of other things. You know, it's good. If I had a Luminaire, I would use it because it can send it wirelessly, and that is awesome to me. We're talking about Hatch. Yeah, 30-day fully functional. Remember, if you're trying Embird, which is down in the least expensive, that you can have a trial, but you can't do anything. So you can't stitch out what you created. Most of them are like this. However, it's fun to play. There's a free trial of the Perfect Embroidery Pro. And that's how I remember I spent a year testing all the software that I could get a free trial for. And that's how I played with it, each one for a month. And that's how I came up with that. I really like this one the best. So Hatch, there are 30-something full-hour classes in Hatch that I have made, and I used to sell for $20 each. And I decided to change my whole program and put them up for free so people can actually learn. So you don't have to have a ton of money or any money. All I need from you guys, the goal for me, this is my heart attack goal, my bucket list, shall we say, is to reach 100,000 subscribers and get a silly little thing from YouTube. But, you know, that's fine. So this is our deal, and I should probably mention this more often, is that you guys get everything for free. And all you have to do, you know, if you can donate, that's fine. If you can't, then share, like, comment with a smiley face, participate. That's all you have to do. Watch the commercials that are on there. Then I get paid by YouTube, and you guys get all this cool stuff. So that's the goal. That's how we're working it. So Sue's videos helped me decide on Hatch. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people did. Hatch is pretty cool. Now I want Perfect Embroidery Pro. I love it. This is, like I said, this is my go-to to play around and come up with ideas. And it's got quilting. It's got, this is my emoji. That's me. I made myself there. I love it. I love how it works. It's easy to figure out. It's all right there, and it's all right here on the side. And I started off with my lace maker, and that just blew me away. I've had so much fun with my lace maker. It's a brilliant program. It's even better when you can do the kind of editing that I want to do. So I can bring anything in here. Oh, I just love it. I love it. I've got problems figuring out the right stitch angles for self-digitize letters. Any tips? How about a video, an hour-long video, showing you exactly how to create your own letters? You can look for that. Maybe one of the mods can find it. It's in Hatch, but it doesn't matter what software you're using. It's going to tell you every step of how to do it with connections, which is very important. Very important. There is a certain way of digitizing letters. Not everyone can do it. Ooh, Angela, thank you very much. I purchased Embellish by R&K before I knew about Sue's channel. I still learn a lot from watching Sue, and the features are similar. Yes, good. Thank you, Cheryl. You can learn anything from the video. You got to have an open mind. It's awesome. Jackie says, I bought PEP over 3 years ago, and until I found Sue, I rarely ever used the software. You have helped me so much. Awesome! That's what I love to see. Inspiration, people understanding pull compensation, because that puts you understanding pull compensation and using it properly puts you a level up over anybody else that creates designs with a black outline that never matches up. Right? 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 Is there a video for splitting satin stitches and removing overlap satin stitched? It depends on what software you use. I know with Hatch, it's got a knife tool and it's super easy. Dwani, I have Luminaire and it came with PEDesign 11. Finally took the wrapping off today. Okay, the first thing I'm going to tell you, Dwani, is to set up your ribbon. I did a video on that. Without the ribbon, I scream a little bit because I can't find anything. So the ribbon, you can set it up. I have a video on that and it'll show you how to do it, and it'll make your life 100 times easier. And do use it, because with your Luminaire, it's wireless. And like I said, you can set up the colors easier if you want to change them or change what you have. So this took up a little bit more time than I wanted, but I mean, I hope you guys learned and understand what it is, the pull comp, and think about it. And the best example is, hey, looks great here. There's no physics on your computer, and look at the difference. Look at the difference. So I'm going to give you guys something to play with, that you can see it on your screen as a stitch file and stitch it out and see the results, right? So if you make the circle into an oval, what do you think's going to happen? Can you figure that out? Well, it's still going to have pull comp, and it's just going to be a narrow circle. So what do? This is how you do it. So when the sides pull in, you make a slight oval. When the sides pull in, you're going to have a circle. That's how you do it. So when you digitize, your circles should not look like this if they're satin, because we know there's a lot of pulling going on because how it stitches out. You need to make them like this. That is how you do it. Gail, thank you very much, Gail. So you have to digitize ovals and the stitches going this way. If your stitches are going this way, then you have to do the opposite. So that's where stitch angles, that could be a whole other Q&A. Stitch angles and what the difference is. This being one of them, the direction you have the stitches going is going to affect your pull compensation and how it turns out. So hopefully you guys think I'm a little clever by getting you guys to do this, to see it and do it. And you probably didn't think anything of it, but I think it would look a little bit better if it was a circle. Now, there's not as much pull compensation in here that you can see because we stitch it down and we tack it down, and then we do this the satin stitches. So, Cindy King, I'm loving this Q&A. All right. So, okay, you guys didn't get to ask your questions. Because pull comp, you really can't leave anything out of pull compensation. You gotta start baby steps and you gotta work all the way to the end. So sorry you guys didn't ask any questions. Let me know in the comments or in the OML Embroidery University Facebook group if you guys want to do another one. And we can do it either on stitch angles, because that is also a huge deal. You can kick your embroidery up a little notch and it makes it look better. Or we can do just a Q&A. So keep your questions. Don't throw them out. I know you guys had a lot. Hopefully some people got to ask them. I think these like Q&A really helps because you can get answers. Like I'm always here to help. I don't ask much from you guys. I appreciate the donations, but sharing, what I want is share so other people can learn this too. The lives are so much fun and the whole bit. I think after we do your sew out, we may have more questions. Yeah, I gotta do it up, but it's gonna kind of be like this. Is it a circle? Can you tell? The idea will be you can guess. Is it gonna stitch out as a circle? Or is it going to stitch out as an oval? So there we go. Very helpful. Good. I will give you guys, I'll put it in the file section of the OML Embroidery University. So if anyone has any questions on the pull comp, then ask in the group. I don't always see the comments. I see them, but I don't always have time to answer. Density, yeah, we can talk about that. It's awesome. Lily Guzman, thank you. I usually watch late at night on my TV. That's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe one day I'll get my webcam back up and running, but nah. So I do ask there, but when we have something like this, it would be great to have a place to submit. Yeah, I've got a plan on that I think will make Q&As much easier and much more regular on top of what we normally do. We'll always have the Wednesday and Saturday, and I'm going to add an Anita Good Design in there as well. So we'll have lives 3 times a week. And then I'm going to do more because it's helping people and it's so much fun. So I'm working on that. I will announce it to you guys. Thank you, as always, to our moderators for helping out so much. They answer a lot of questions themselves. It's fantastic. Thank you to everybody for being here. Play around with what you've learned. Always watch Design Stitching Out. You'll learn a lot more about it. Have you come up with the AG class? I have, for the Anita Good Design. Yeah, I want to try to do techniques every week and different things. The reverse cut work is what I want to do. I just haven't got that far. We've been so busy, which is a good thing. I'm really happy to be busy. I just haven't fit everything in. So I'm working on a couple things. Yes, thank you, Somi. That's awesome. Thumbs up count, sharing counts, even if you share it on your own timeline. But tell your embroidery friends, because you guys are going to be so far ahead of everyone else. You know, have them catch up and learn. Yes, it is good to be busy. We've been kind of lacking the last couple of months, so we just got to get our butts going. Kathleen, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you guys doing your homework. I appreciate you guys watching, liking, the whole bit. So I'm going to say, you guys, again, sorry we didn't get to your questions, but I think this is an invaluable video. I think a lot of people will walk away with an understanding of that, and it's really important. This is embroidery. Remember, physics. Physics, physics, physics. So, okay, you guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys liked the video. Click the button. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you all. Bye.